Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We are your co-hosts. I'm Brian.
And I'm Robin Joy.
And this is Coach's Corner.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going good. I see here that you have written down that you want to talk about this topic. Not every ASIN needs to win. Mm-hmm. It just needs to teach you something.
Yeah, well, I don't know that it needs to. I mean, there is an opportunity for every ASIN to teach you something.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a few things to unpack here today around this, and it kind of just goes, we speak a lot to beginners in this business.
We do, yeah.
Because
That's kind of where our heart is.
Well, because
we know how it feels.
It's like this sort of gap you have to cross when you're first starting out, when you're going for, I'm interested in learning how to do this. You know, it sounds appealing. I want to resell things on Amazon, to actually getting to the part where you are actually sending stuff in at a meaningful level, right?
Right. Yeah. In the beginning, you kind of have to just kind of fill up that pipeline on faith, get some stuff going, right?
And what happens is there's so much information out there. It's easy to get into information overload and get into this, analysis paralysis. But, and then this creates this like mess. And I remember feeling this way. Yeah. In the early days when I started the business, it was
a little messy.
It felt messy.
Yeah.
And it is messy.
Sure.
I mean,
I'm not sure there's a business out there that doesn't feel messy in the beginning. You got to try some things, see if they work. Like you're really kind of building your structure and your processes, and it's not all that pretty in the beginning.
I mean, combined with other things, you're exactly right. The challenge here, I think most sellers have, is not a sourcing problem. It's a chaos problem because information overload, analysis paralysis, the messiness of any business, really, right? Right. If you're an employee, you don't have to deal with the messy unless you're in a management leadership role.
Right. Not usually. No.
Yeah. I mean, messy customers sometimes you've got to clean up after customers. But
somebody's already figured out what that job should look like in most cases.
Right.
Yeah.
You, in this case, you're building it as you go.
Right.
And so not that there aren't existing resources out there for you around, systems and standard operating procedures and things like that. But
they just don't do you a lot of good in the beginning when you don't have a lot to put into them yet.
Well, so I didn't lift these things directly. I didn't pose them as questions, but all three of the topics I want to talk about today came from coaching sessions. Okay. And so I just want to dive into them a little bit and talk about how to get it feeling much less like chaos. Okay. All right. You okay with that?
Yeah. With the caveat that you do just have to embrace a little bit of the chaos. Not all of it.
Yeah. You will. Actually, part of it is just, it's the nature of the beast.
If you plan for it, it's a whole lot easier to take. What'd you say?
You almost look forward to it after a while. It's like when things are too quiet, what's going on, right?
It's like when your 3-year-old, wait a minute.
Yes. Yeah.
Why have I not heard anything?
Yeah. But in the beginning, you want to find the success. And so everything is urgent. So every ASIN you pick up is like, you feel like it's a lottery ticket. Oh, scratch. Am I going to win? Did I win on this one? Right?
Yeah. And then if not, I'm so disappointed.
And so I
can't win on anything. I never win.
I mean, I never win. I haven't bought a lottery ticket in decades, probably.
Well, you might win more if you bought more lottery tickets.
Well, as they say, you can't win if you don't play, right? But yeah, it can feel a little crazy when you're just trying to find winners, if you're all about the winners. Right. And this is one of the reasons that we put some verbiage into place here around this to help people understand the structure, kind of a way to approach it. So it's more systematized and less like, did I randomly win on something? Okay. So we talk about viable ASINs, testable ASINs, replenishable ASINs.
3 types of ASINs.
The 3 types of ASINs, right?
Okay.
The viable ASINs are the ones that it has 2 things that we're checking the box on. Right. One is
branded correctly in the brand field and spelled correctly.
The listing itself.
The listing
needs to be good, right? Yeah. And the other side of that equation is bridging the gap. So finding
an authorized source.
An authorized source for that particular product.
To be clear, that's a source that's authorized to sell the brand.
Yes.
Firsthand.
Yeah.
People get that confused. I'm just going to go off script here and throw that in there. I just want to make a point again. People get that confused with, is this a legitimate website?
Yes, right.
That they're buying from?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they can be a legitimate website and still not be authorized firsthand by the brand.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean they're bad to buy from. They're bad to buy inventory from.
Right.
Because you may have to prove that direct connection. You want to be the third-party seller, not the eighth-party seller.
Yeah.
So check in to make sure that they're going to send you something if you send them money. That's a good idea, but that's not the end of what has to be done. We must make sure that they're authorized by the brand to sell the brands that they're selling. So just want to throw that in there. All right, so back to viable ASIN. So we got a good ASIN that's matched up with a good source.
Mm-hmm.
That's a viable ASIN.
That's a viable ASIN.
I don't know if I'm going to test it or not. I don't know if I'll ever test it.
Who cares?
But it's going in my database of viable ASINs because I may test it. The ones that aren't branded properly or don't have a good source, I will never test them.
Mm-hmm.
These are ones that I could test. I might test in the future.
That's right. And the more of those that you have at your fingertips, the easier it's going to be to find the next stage, which is testable ASINs. Right. And so instead of like drawing a name, you know how you pull like a name out of a hat or something out of it, like I draw rocks and you're like, I got the winner or I didn't, right?
Right.
Instead of every ASIN that you look at feeling like you're drawing a rock to see if you won or not, don't do that evaluation there. Pick the rock to see if it's viable. And if it is, put it in the other bucket, right?
Yeah.
Put it in the other bucket.
That's the only thing you need to
do.
do to gather viable ASINs.
Yep.
We need the most of viable ASINs.
Yes.
Why? Because from viable ASINs, we get testable ASINs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the next step. Tell me what's a test. How do we know if it's a testable ASIN out of all those viable ASINs?
For us, we put a 3-step check in place, and we say it's velocity, so sales velocity. How fast is that product moving, or is it moving fast enough? Does it have enough sales volume for me to be able to get in and out of it within a reasonable amount of time? We say 30 to 45 days.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have capital?
After received.
And does it have capital protection? So is there evidence that can at least get my money back if everything goes against me? If nothing else works out, like if I decide, if it doesn't turn out where I can sell it for my minimum profit goal, can I at least get my money back? Yes. Okay.
Break even. Not lose money, but not make money.
And then the fourth one is potential profit. Like, is there evidence that I could make my ideal target, my minimum profit goal here, right? Mm-hmm. So those three things are what go into my 3-step check. So once I've taken the rock out of the one bucket and put it into the viable ASIN bucket, then I evaluate, right?
Right.
Only instead of...
But I don't evaluate for a long period of time. I mean, there are several data points that I could look at. Mm-hmm. Those 3 data points are all I need to decide if I'm going to test or not.
Yeah.
Because remember, I'm most likely going to get my money back. It's not going to cost me anything in the long run to test this ASIN. Those are the ones that I'm looking for. And so I don't need to do 3 hours worth of analysis on whether I should or shouldn't send it in. Mm-hmm. If I put enough in the bucket, overall, I should be making money.
Well, because we've already put guardrails in place.
Yeah.
Right? We did this with the pre-flight inspection and creating our viable pre-flight inspection. Sorry, we left that one out. Pre-flight is how we're actually evaluating the ASIN.
Yes.
The bridging the gap is how we're evaluating the source. These things are protecting us. Right?
So we have a lot of viable ASINs, and from those we get a few testable ASINs. And what do we do with testable ASINs?
We test them.
We test them. That's one big, huge, important point there is once you have a testable ASIN, you have to test it in order to find out if it's going to be replenishable or not.
That's
which brings us to the next type.
So when newer people are like, hey, I found my first replen. You haven't even sent it in yet. How do you know if it's a replen? You don't know. You want it to be a replen. Let the test
tell you whether you should replenish or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it can look
be better
golden.
Than you think.
It can look golden.
It can.
And not work out for you. And then they could have other ones that like, I may get my money back on this, or I may hit my minimum profit target. And you find that, you're in a situation that worked out really well.
Do you see this all the time when you work?
Oh, absolutely.
All the time.
People are like, I never would have guessed this.
I never would have. Yeah. And then at the same time, people try to overthink it and then go, why did I even do that?
Yeah.
Well, you put too much into it. It either met the criteria or it didn't. And you tried to make it meet the criteria. using other data points, and then sometimes you get in trouble.
So when you try to skip the stages and go right to replenishable, is that replenishable? Right? Not only does it take a financial toll on you, but it takes an emotional toll.
It absolutely does.
Because the hard fact is, I was going to say facts are, because there could be multiple that come out. So I reserve the right to change my. Most of those viable ASINs are not going to be testable.
Right.
And only a few of the tests are going to turn into replenishables for you.
Right. And we don't test because we know the answer.
Exactly.
We test because we want a clear answer.
And we know this going in, and that's why, quite honestly, we talked about it in another recent episode. The tools that we're using today are not about helping me get shipments in, not about helping me scan my items into boxes. That's,
that's other people are doing that now.
Right.
Yeah.
The tools that we use today help you with bulk, with mass data, right? And that's why we have kind of changed our lingo over the years too. From, I think about this when you were first sourcing those first 6 weeks, when you first joined the business, it was like, oh, we found 8 things that we're going to buy and send in. And we just assumed we were going to make money on all of them. And the truth was we didn't.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
And we learned that it takes more than 8 things. It takes 8 new things every week. Now for us, it's 5 or 6 new ASINs that we're testing every week, along with, however many boxes full of ASINs that we've already tested that we know are replenishable and are continuing to be replenishable.
So my whole thought process here that I'm trying to get across is every ASIN that you look at, whether it becomes testable for you, whether it becomes a viable ASIN or whether it becomes a replenishable ASIN, this is not a verdict on you, on your business, even on the ASIN itself. It's just a data point. And if you can start treating these things as just data points, then you approach it differently, right? It's just about moving things through the system and gleaning the results, gleaning the things that come out of it that are really working to your benefit.
Yeah, I think that's well said.
So once you've got some structure, the next question usually becomes, how do you measure what's actually working?
Well, we didn't get into the replenishable ASIN too much.
Oh, okay. You want to talk about that?
Let's one more time. You got to have a lot of viable ASINs in order to choose a few testable ASINs from there. Then you have to test a lot of ASINs in order to find a few that are replenishable. And I think you said this. I just want to say it one more way. Some of those are not going to be replenishable. That's why we test to find which ones are replenishable and which ones we just get our money back and go put them into something else, another test.
Yeah.
Those that are replenishable, how do we know they're replenishable? Because they made a profit. I mean, if it makes a profit, go do it again and until it stops making a profit.
Major minimum profit is what we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, you're going to take what you get. Then get some more choices. And this happens really quickly, but it seems like a long time when you're in that quiet period. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay.
All right.
So how do you determine what is working for you or was profitable or whatever, right? Because you can spend a lot of time, we talked about this recently too, polishing things up, right? You can make your spreadsheets look so good.
Oh, yeah.
You can tweak your formulas to account for every little thing that could pop up in your business.
Oh, you can babysit those ASINs, those 2 or 3 that you work, and you can babysit them and hedge them here and advertise them and find ways. And then you're just spending a whole lot of work on a little bit of profit.
Well, the system doesn't need to be perfect to be profitable. Right? This is why we say a lot, just go make a mess. Just go make a mess.
Let it be a little messy.
Don't
let it be illegal. Let it be a little messy, though.
Yeah. Illegal? Yeah. Well, no, we don't want any of that.
We want to keep everything legal, but, I just don't want anybody to take that the wrong way. But the mess is going to happen, and you're going to have to sit in it for a little bit.
So I was working with someone this last week about them dialing in their cost of goods.
Yeah.
And this very similar conversation with another coaching client around FBM. And, how do I want to really dial in my FBM shipping costs so I can reprice my items better to account for when it's lower shipping costs or when it's more shipping costs. And same thing with this person, the other person I was talking with, he's like, well, I'm trying to estimate on at an ASIN level. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is a lot of work, right? I would much rather take a sort of down the middle average approach and apply that to every single ASIN, knowing that in most cases that's going to work or we'll be better off. Every once in a while, it may not exactly work for us, but we've got balance, right? We got balance is the important part.
Right, which is why we don't put a whole lot of high percentage of money into one ASIN, because if something happens to that ASIN, the rest of it needs to be able to take over.
So if you can lock in this simple, repeatable process to estimate what your cost of goods is, to include your inbound transportation, your placement fees, your prep costs, that's where now you can just move forward with that and apply it to every single ASIN without having to get in there and pencil whip every one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just too much work.
It is too much work, which leads me to the next point.
Which is?
I was having a conversation with somebody outside of this business recently, and she was saying, well, if I don't spend the time looking at it up front, then I have to spend all this time on the backside fixing it or cleaning it up.
Okay. Seems reasonable.
And it was this work process thing. And this, I was relating it to what we hear a lot in this space, which is I want to make sure that I'm only putting the cleanest viable ASINs in my database, right? If it's a mismatch, I want to get that cleaned up before I even put it in there. If there's a
branding issue,
I'm going to go through all 1,000 ASINs, one line by line by line by line, to remove the small percentage of them that may be misbranded.
Well, remember the part where I said I may never test some of these viable ASINs? Why would I want them clean if I'm never going to look at them again? When do I want to make that cleanup?
When you come across it.
When you come across it as something that you might test.
Yes.
Then you go back through, make sure it still has, because things change as well.
Yeah.
Make sure that then at the point that you're going to send it in, that's when you make sure it's nice and clean. If not, toss it out at that moment.
Right. Yeah. There's no this idea that everything needs to be perfect in your systems.
Whether you ever look at it again or not.
It's like, I was trying to come up with an analogy. It's like all I can come up with right now is this assembly line process, right? It's like inspecting the result at each phase of the assembly line and taking it out and going back to redo it if something happened, if something wasn't quite right in the step before. But that doesn't happen on every single product that's going through the assembly line, just on every once in a while, right? So this is the whole quality assurance versus quality checking. Quality assurance is what you build into the process up front.
Right.
Quality check is the sort of sampling you do on the backside.
Right. And I think that makes complete sense. I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
In another life, when I was
Yes.
a child, really,
Yeah.
I was not a teenager yet, or just barely. My family owned a business where we lived in a small town that had a beef packing plant, and we didn't slaughter beef or anything. We cleaned the kill floor after the work was done during the day. So they worked. They did, they had these troughs and tables and things that, were sanitized, and they were, where they could work. But like when they would take the hides off and stuff, they didn't have to be sanitized at that point. And there was a lot of blood, they cut their throat. And I don't want to get too much into it, but they didn't stop every time they got a spot of blood on them. They were, uniforms that, protected them, and they didn't stop every time a spurt of blood went somewhere it wasn't supposed to.
To go clean it up?
To go clean it up. No, they continued and they did their job. They were on an assembly line. They had, quotas. They had to get it done. And then once and they did, spray things down in regular intervals. But once in the evening, we went in and sanitized everything, cleaned up everything, and made it ready to go for the next day.
So when they came in the morning, it was like spick and span. It looked perfect.
Yes. And then they went and messed it all up again. And
Doing the job.
Yeah. And we washed the shrouds that go around the beef when you hang it, and we could see the kill floor from where we were in the daytime, and we see they're just making a mess. But the whole thing was, somebody would come and inspect. They had a USDA person or something who had to come and grab some and inspect some meat during the time, but not every single piece.
That's right. Yes.
So you can inspect a portion of your process regularly and not have to touch every single one. You can see in that portion if you've got a problem or not.
A less graphic example.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Sorry. And you wondered. Yeah. I mean, I could tell you so many stories. And yet.
It reminds me of like when I was in high school and college working in the food service industry.
Yeah.
I mean, the kitchen in a, Village Inn, Denny's, Perkins, whatever, during a dinner service, an absolute disaster.
Disaster.
You did not stop to clean up every little thing as you're going.
Right. You wore an apron and a hat and washed your hands.
You had to get the food out, right?
Yeah.
And, it's certainly when the rush was over, then we cleaned. That was part of the whole process. So,
but you had to move faster because it could be nice and clean and neat all the time, but then you would lose customers, and that's where the revenue is.
Time. Yeah, exactly right. Revenue. It's all about revenue. Somehow how clean it is. So whether I was working in the pizza place and the line where you assemble the pizzas was a disaster after the dinner rush. But guess what? I also did the prep and everything. I would get that whole thing lined up. It was spick and span clean. It was all full of the, it was perfect.
Yep.
Until work actually started.
But what I'm hearing here is our systems are to get set up.
Yeah.
And then you go.
Yeah.
You work. You do your process to create revenue.
Yeah.
And then you take a break. You clean it all back up. Yeah. And then you go again. Every week.
Yeah.
Every week. And spending all this time with, every little movement, having to make it clean, it's just going to slow you down.
That's right.
And you're not going to make any money.
And you're not going to make progress as fast as you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't need perfect numbers here to build a profitable system.
Right.
Perfection doesn't prohibit profit.
Perfection doesn't
exist.
But you said perfection doesn't prohibit profit.
Yeah.
Perfection is not
lack of perfection.
Yeah, lack of perfection does not prohibit profit. Otherwise, none of us would be making any profit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, lack of perfection doesn't prohibit profit. I like it. It's got a lot of P's.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get used to saying it. All right.
Lack of perfection does not prohibit profit.
Right.
Got it. That's good. Maybe we'll come up with a new word for all that.
Oh, we're always coming up with new words. All right.
So once you got some clarity and some consistency in your process, the next big question is it really paying off?
Well, yeah, you can move fast and it might not still be paying off, right?
It's the whole, I think I've told you this joke. I probably even said it on here before. I'm really fast at math. I didn't say I was good, but I said I was fast, right? Right.
Right. So how does that joke go? Okay, what's 2 + 2?
7. No, that you got to give me a harder one.
No. You can say 2 you asked me the joke. What's 2 + 2?
What's 2 + 2?
Is 4. What's 4 + 4? 8. What's 236,468 plus 743,600 yeah.
1.728 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
You're
right.
fast.
Yes.
But you're not accurate.
That wasn't good. Yeah. I didn't say I was good.
We totally butchered that joke.
I know. I said I was fast.
Yeah. They're laughing at us, not with us right now. Yeah. That's okay. We love you guys. It's all right. Keep going.
I think there's a big difference between being profitable and being sustainable. And I see this a lot in this session. When I know I say this all the time, my favorite session to do is this profit profile.
Yes.
That I do. And
people are really impacted by it. It's really, really helpful.
I had the opportunity to work with a coaching student on this last week. And it was a check-in about 8 months after we had done the initial. And we set some things like we measured where her business was.
Okay, so hold on. The initial time you measured where business was.
The initial session we measured where she was.
Okay.
Right. We took this law of averages or the law of large numbers.
Because she had a big enough foundation to be able to do that.
We said, okay, on average, you're generating X amount of revenue every sale. You're paying X amount in FBA fees, X amount in referral fees, X amount in refunds.
You didn't pick up one ASIN and go, okay, this one has 20% profit.
No. Yeah.
This one has...
Again, when you're selling several hundred ASINs.
Yeah. There's no way you can do that.
Realistic to do that, right? And so you have to take a different approach. I mean, there is some visibility to that on some level, just not when you're making, usually these business decisions.
Right.
So we set out, we figured out where she was at that time.
Okay.
And we set out some goals to say, okay, let's try inching this up and inching this down. And overall, we can impact your book of business and make you X amount more profitable on every sale if we are able to implement these changes. Now, typically what I say is, let's check back in 90 days.
Okay.
Because it takes a little while. We already know about
you make
the
a
cycle.
change today. It's not necessarily going to show up even what you did for a while.
And what I find when I'm doing that initial session with people, the one I'm kind of talking through with this one coaching student, is that a lot of sellers are technically profitable at that point. Okay. And she was at that point as well, technically profitable, gross profit level.
Gross profit level. Okay.
So we're talking about gross margin, gross profit. This is like for every product that I produce and every intrinsic cost that's associated with it, I can still come out with a profit.
Okay.
But usually what happens is they still can't pay themselves.
Right.
Right? Because the math looks good on paper, but the bank account doesn't lie. Okay.
Right. Because there's a flow that has to happen in order to get your money into the bank.
Well, not only that, usually it's a scale challenge, right? Oh yeah. It's like this, someone in the Facebook group was not happy about the amount of shipping they were paying on their 22 item shipment.
Yeah.
This doesn't work. Look how much I have to pay for inbound transportation, right?
Yeah. And I think it's really hard until you have a foundational book of business where you can use the law of averages, at least 75 or 100 ASINs that you're sending in each week, which would be, 200 or 300 at least units. Until you get some scale under you, you're not really going to be able to be efficient. It's like clipping coupons, you know. Well, I could, not do a placement fee on this one, the other one, and make sure I don't spend any. It's not going to be profitable until you build that. Overall, the shipping is not going to make that much difference.
Well, the fact is, the early days, that's not going to be your scale number. Right. So if you're measuring your results today and saying, "Oh, this business doesn't work,"
based on 5 or 20,
based on 22 units that you're sending
it's probably,
in,
10, 15 ASINs.
Yeah, I don't know how many ASINs he had in there, but then we need to reset expectations because you're probably not going to be profitable, even at a gross profit level, when you're sending in 22 units, right? Because the truth is the inbound transportation will eat you up on that. But you have to be okay with, I say, using these numbers.
It's an investment in the beginning.
Yeah, it can be an investment. Yeah. So anyway, before I lose the thread on this whole coaching session, we did this reevaluation of her business some 8 months later.
8 months later.
About 7 months later.
Okay.
And holy smokes.
Yeah.
The improvement was the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The best I've ever seen. And I don't remember the exact numbers. I'll just tell you that she went from some, 22% gross ROI number to a 56% gross ROI number by impacting the exact things we set out to improve.
Good girl.
Right? And don't quote me on the exact numbers, but it was really dramatic.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a big eye opener because it's rare that people come back to me, right?
and show you that.
And show me the results. So when I had the chance
and it's also rare when they do that they have only made those changes and seen the impact of those changes.
And they haven't changed the whole business model, right? Well, they think they're going to start off changing
throw it all in the trash and start over.
A few things, and then they end up just starting over, right? Rebuilding. So anyway, the bottom line here is, as we can progress through this last point, is the healthy looking margins on the gross margin side. They can look good, but still not produce you enough profit to actually pay yourself because you don't have enough scale. And this is usually a scale problem. I think of all the times I've done this, and I'm going to say it's like 40 or 50 times initial sessions, I've only had one account that wasn't profitable at a gross profit level. And by the way, we don't coach all of these people. Some of them get referred to us for these sessions. And so not that I'm recusing myself from anyone who doesn't have a great looking business by any stretch. But the point is, rarely are people not profitable at an ASIN level.
Yeah.
They got that figured out. It's usually a scale problem. And this is what goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the chaos. Everything's in chaos.
Yeah, it's true. And I even had somebody this week you're talking about the profitability to scale level, who's like, it's, Amazon came on, I can't get any more sales. I am stuck with these 12 that I've got in there. And then you taught me to look at the arc, right? I'm like, well, let's see how much you've made overall on this. It used to sell like crazy. So, I kept sending it in, and then all of a sudden, boom, I got stuck. Well, let's see how much you've made overall. Oh, yeah. Okay. And how much would you lose if you gave these away? Oh, you still made money. Sometimes it's just a little different way to look at it. People are beating themselves up and just letting it sit there and paying storage, even though you've already made your money on this one. Let it go.
That is such a great point. And the other thing I did when I was working my way through college was I worked at a drugstore. And we had...
Oh, a drugstore.
Yeah.
An actual drugstore. I'm just kidding.
Well, some might call it a 5 and dime or whatever that also had a pharmacy, right?
Yeah.
And we would get these buys in. Okay. Sometimes it wasn't even us like the store manager who bought it. It was sent to us by corporate.
Okay.
But the store had to pay for it.
Sure.
Because there were buyers who were smarter than us, right? Who were making these buying decisions. And we'd take this inventory, especially it was mostly like seasonal stuff. And we would put it out and at full price or whatever the, deal price was. And we would sell 60% of it. Okay. And guess what? At that point, we had made all the profit that we needed to make on that. And then we take the other 40% of the inventory, put it on an end cap and blow it out or put it on clearance and just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because we had already made our money on that.
Almost give it away.
Yes.
Because you've already made your money.
Give it away.
Enough that you can, how much you're going to have to take.
But this is the smart people. This is the smart creative thinking. How can I get people to pay me to take away my junk? Oh, I'll put it on an end cap. I'll call it clearance. Right. And I'll
basically give it away.
Squeeze every last penny out of that I can, even though I've already made all my profit.
Right. I could throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Or I could get a few more pennies out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. That's it. Like this is the thing that people overlook a lot of times. And I think I know the client you're talking about when you're telling the story of the...
Yeah, and he already knew this, but...
Well, it's like, well, yeah, but I haven't sold any in 3 months. So it's still sitting there unsold because,
now you're paying.
Yes. Now you got to cut your losses.
Which is what they didn't want to do at the drugstore is keep paying for it when they knew they weren't going to make any more profit.
They put it on sale and blew it out.
Yeah.
That's right. So that's when you've got one of those that has just totally, it's not, a good deal for you anymore, blow it out, get it gone. Right?
Because like you were saying, the emotional toll, if nothing else, that's the pain points.
Yeah.
Is the emotional toll that it takes on you.
Yeah.
And I got these that I've tried not to look at them. How many times do people come and they say, well, I've got these and I've just been letting them sit there to see what would happen because I'm going to lose money to take them away. Get it out, get good stuff in. And if you're consistently sending new tests in, you're going to find things to replace those with way faster than you're going to lose them for sure.
Yes. So I will often say, don't focus on one ASIN. Right. It's not about one ASIN.
No, you got to have
it could even be about one ASIN, but look at that ASIN over time. Look at that ASIN over your total inventory.
It's not about one sale.
That's right. It's not about a single sale. It's not about how much money you're going to make or not make on this particular sale. It's about overall.
Right.
So
I think it's a great way to look at it. But again, you got to build that foundation because none of this stuff matters on 5 or 6 ASINs.
Well, this sort of reminds me of one of the adventures we took not too long after we got married was investing some money into the stock market.
Yes. Okay. I remember it well.
And it wasn't the normal stock. It wasn't
it was more like day trading, not quite, but it was more like day trading.
Kind of. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it day trading, but it was individual stock based.
Yeah.
It was writing individual stocks, and it wasn't a mutual fund play. It wasn't an index fund. It wasn't. It was like I'm going to pick individual stocks.
Yeah.
Which, if you're really good at that, and there are a lot of people who are,
they're very experienced, though.
Exactly.
We were not very experienced. We were not experienced at all in any way.
So I compare your book of business, which is going to contain several hundred replenishable ASINs, to a mutual fund, to an index fund.
Right.
As opposed to I bought IBM, or IBM's a bad example, but I bought OpenAI stock. Have they gone public yet? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Whoever these companies are, right? Like, oh, I bought NVIDIA.
Okay.
Right. Or I bought Netflix when it was $14 a share. Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's so rare that you're going to buy one stock and retire on that.
Right.
You have to have a portfolio, right?
Exactly, because what happens when that stock tanks or that company goes out of business and
It always happens. There is no company that's been around forever. I mean, the longest company I can think of, well, it's not even a company. It's an organization, the Catholic Church, right? Like,
yeah.
they've been around for a long time.
I don't think you can buy stock in that.
No, you can't. But I mean, as an organization, a long, long time.
Yes.
And but I can't think of a business, a company that's been around.
Yeah, some might argue for some other religious things, but yeah. An organization that's on the stock market, yeah, there aren't any.
Right.
So I think you explained it before. It's like if you can get only the grains of sand into your business because they're the best and they fell through the filters that you had on it. You still can't. Then you can't pick up every single grain of sand and look at it. You have to apply some sort of system to it. Right.
Yeah. Well, one of the other things that we do in this profit profile session is we find the leaks, the holes in the boat, which is what a lot of people tend to not take into consideration when you're looking at, am I profitable at an ASIN level? You look at each ASIN. Well, this one was good. This one was good. Or this one was bad. But if you look at everything together, then you start seeing some places that your business is leaking or you've got a hole in the boat. And one of those can be refunds. One of those can be removals. Some of those can be storage fees.
Oh, absolutely. Storage fees can get you. It seems so small because they're not very much, but it does add up. And boy, you let it go past 6 months and it's going to hurt.
That's when it adds up the most.
Yeah.
Like, most people don't even feel it until it starts getting up in that 6 month range. And then you're like, I paid $40 in long-term storage?
Yeah.
For what? Oh, for these 3 units.
Yeah.
Over here that I couldn't cut bait on.
3 units that I was going to make 50 cents profit on.
That I should have blown out and put on sale, put on clearance, right? Yeah. That was actually an enlightening thing for this particular student for me, she'd actually done some, what is that feature called? Where you can sell it for pennies on the dollar that Amazon offers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exclusive.
Anyway, the
Prime exclusive.
No. The one that's like, we'll get, if it costs $20, we'll get you like $1 back.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's instead of recalling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of recalling it and paying to get it sent back to you, you can actually earn a little bit of money on it. Have
pennies,
Amazon put it on clearance,
pennies,
basically.
But yeah.
And by the way, this could be where all those like Amazon shelf pulls or the Amazon pallets could come from this type of inventory.
Sure.
You don't have chain of custody on this.
Don't resell.
So don't resell it.
Don't use that as inventory source.
Anyway, so when we're looking at all these fee categories and all the places that it costs money over a quarter's worth of time.
Liquidation.
The liquidation. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Let me just kill your point. Try again.
Yeah.
Now, over time. What now?
When you're looking at all these things over time, then you start to see these things add up. Oh, refunds? Why am I paying so much in? Why does it cost me $1.74 in expense for every item that I sell in refunds on average? Oh, it's because I've been selling. I'm not saying refunds are bad.
No, refunds are going to happen. But when you're selling high refund items, you got to build that in. Shoot,
exactly. And this particular person didn't have a 0 refund number. It was over $1, I'm sure, of every single item on average that she sold went to cover her refunds. But her margin was still top notch.
Yeah.
So you can bake the margin into these items that do get refunds.
So you're really making sense to me, Brian. So I don't have to look at every ASIN, is it profitable? If I can look at a book of business and I don't have to say, oh, I will never let anything be refunded.
Yes.
I will cry every time I get a refund. No, build it into your system. It's part of the deal. It's part of what happens. And that one refund may have cost you on that one sale.
Yep.
But overall, you're still making money on that ASIN. So,
and on average, you're still
if you are, then keep moving. If not, pull it. Get another one.
So the short and sweet, the TLDR, as they say on this one, is the fix isn't always about having better margins.
No,
it can be more volume, right? A lot of times, usually, it's more volume.
More volume.
And then there's a second component. I mean, this is the second component of that, which is, what does your business look like when you move from 75 units a week of inbound shipping to 150 units a week? Okay.
It should look somewhat different.
It looks dramatically different because of two things. Number one, it impacts your averages. Number two, there's the additional revenue and gross profit from those 75 items a week, which is 300 units a month.
Well, and then you get into the numbers that help you say what we were saying a couple of weeks ago, which was, I'm not shooting for 10 out of 10.
Yes,
I'm shooting for, 175 out of 200.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said 150 out of 200.
Okay, 150 out of 200. Still, it's more of that kind of a look than it is 10 out of 10. Ooh, if one of them goes bad, I've failed. No. Grow it bigger, and then you can get 10.
That is so right. So right.
So right.
So one last word of caution on this is, when you're doing these types of evaluations, and I would encourage you to do this to your own business, just be mindful of how frequently you're making changes.
Yeah.
Okay. To your, not to the results.
And how many changes you're making.
Yeah. When we're going in to make an improvement in your book of business, we're going to target 2 or 3 things. Make the changes in your future sourcing for those items, right? So in other words, if my gross margin or my average sales price was $18 and my cost was $8, then I'm going to try and stretch that a little bit.
Stretch it.
Right?
Yeah.
What's that thing called?
The rack.
The rack.
He always tries to talk about it and never think what it's called.
I always try to give people the
torture device.
The medieval torture device imagery. So you understand, like, we're trying to stretch, trying to push up that sales price, and we're trying to push down the cost of goods. This person achieved that.
Well, and I think that's a testament to her that one of the things that she did was just change the things she planned on changing.
Yeah.
And went with it until she was ready to bring it back to you and see if we need to make more changes.
And then we reevaluate. And then we see what changes can we make going forward.
And that was months later, not 2 weeks later.
That's right. Because you don't get the results fast enough. You don't get the feedback back.
Right. So the plan makes a difference.
And in her case, her numbers, the gross numbers were awesome. It's the best I've seen.
I'm so proud of her.
Her next challenge is scale. And I was so happy to hear that she had already started on this. She already started implementing a prep center.
Yes.
She already started with a VA who's helping with her administrative tasks. She already started with a lot of things that is going to give her the ability to scale without investing more time of herself. Because a lot of times when I'm asking people, do you think you could go from 75 units a week to 150? They're still doing everything. And they're like, ooh. They're
already doing all they can do.
I'm already burning the candle at both ends, right? And so you have to build these things in or start to add these things into your business that will help free up your time so that you can scale.
Good. Well, Brian, do you have a quote for us today?
I do. This quote hopefully sums up this episode nice and solidly. This one comes to us from Winston Churchill. Perfection is the enemy of progress.
Perfection is the enemy of progress. Yeah. So if I try to make it all perfect, I'm going to make less progress.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Do quick and dirty, not quick and dirty. Just let it be a mess.
Get in there. Yeah. Don't
clean it up later.
Clean it up. Make a plan time to go clean up. If you got to have it cleaned up, then, at this point of the week is my cleanup time, and that's when I do it and hold it to that.
Yeah.
Rather than stopping every time something gets out of order.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a question for you, Robin.
Yeah.
When you're ready to scale up and finally reach that point where the business can actually give you a paycheck, how do you solve that problem?
We're going to test more ASINs.
Test more ASINs.
Let's go test more ASINs.
Great to see everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's program, but we've got a little special announcement for you before I let you go. So stick with us. I've got Jeff Schick. He's our resident expert for all things Amazon, Walmart, e-commerce, policy, and legal. He's always got a good tip or insight for us. What have you got for us today, Jeff?
Well, hey, thanks for having me on today. So what we've got today to talk about is the is some of our e-commerce myths that we've been encountering as with our clients. And so, one of the greatest myths that I see going around in a lot of online communities is the idea that the IP complaint is the greatest threat to a business. So I'll see, day in and day out, you see posts of people saying, my business is healthy because I don't have any IP complaints. But they don't think, and they think that that's all that matters, or, hey, this brand doesn't issue IP complaints, so it's totally safe to sell. There's nothing to worry about. So I really wanted to just dive into the idea that, there are other threats besides IP complaints, both from an account health perspective or even, like selling a product perspective. So yeah, just wanted to kick off that subject matter.
Yeah, so I know IP is a famous and popular one to kick around and discuss, and I feel like we've gotten pretty good as an industry, as a community, of dealing with those the vast majority of the time, especially if they have you on retainer, which we'll talk more about that before we wrap up today. But what else are you seeing? What perspective should we have in regards to the other threats?
Well, a lot of times, so people focus so much on the IP complaint that they overlook the more basic things that can actually threaten their business. I mean, number one thing that we still deal with that can be a complete business killer is, listing on products that have the wrong brand name or that are listed as generic. And I know we've talked about that years ago as a problem, and it still is. Those listings still exist on Amazon to this day, and people get tied up in listing under the wrong product. Similarly, we have, there's risks in the types of products that people carry. So, one of the examples I'll talk about is like life safety devices, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. Those products are not risk-free, and they may have a good ROI, but with a good ROI comes a very high risk profile. So for people that are more risk averse, you may want to think about the types of products you're selling in addition to whether the brand issues IP complaints and things like that.
Understood. And maybe even adjust your insurance as well, which we have great sponsors for that as well, insuring different types of products at different levels of risk.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely want to talk to Ashland before you start listing, a smoke detector, for instance, because, unfortunately, product liability law in the United States is what's called strict liability. And so it means that if you have a product that is defective, and defective is kind of an interesting one because defective is defined three ways in the United States law. Defective design and engineering, meaning it could have been engineered to be safer. Defective manufacturing, meaning that it was manufactured according to specs that were safe, but that there was a manufacturing glitch, like maybe they forgot to connect one of the battery wires or something like that. And then the third one, which is the one I like to hate on the most, is failure to warn. So not putting enough warning labels on something. But all of those make, any of those types of violations are treated the same, and it makes the seller, so anyone that touched that product in the supply chain, so you as the seller, Amazon because they handled it, UPS even could have some liability if they took your package. You bought it from Home Depot, they've got liability, their vendor has liability, and then the manufacturer has liability. So
interesting. I know you've got quite a few clients. Have you dealt with any of those where the seller was held responsible for a malfunction of a safety related product? Is that in your purview?
We haven't had a safety related issue, thank God, because that would probably have involved loss of life, or at least extreme property damage. But we have had, we did have a seller who sold a defective water filter that flooded somebody's kitchen and basically caused like $40,000 worth of damage to their house. So that was that was an interesting case. And then we've also had cases of, private label sellers. For instance, we had one of our private label sellers was selling a kitchen item that was chopped somebody's finger off. So it's, so there's definitely some things we did, I've given also the example before of we had a reseller who sold their first product ever. It didn't have insurance, and the product it was a cosmetic that caused the person to go to the hospital when they used it. And so the seller had to pay the person's hospital bill because the person who went to the hospital did not have health insurance, and the seller didn't have business insurance to pay for it either. So the seller had to personally write a check.
Wow. That's crazy. So these are the kind of reasons why these and many others would hire you guys to help navigate the risk profile, I guess, of the products you're considering selling. Is that
Absolutely.
something that you guys do for your clients?
We do, especially so if people are thinking about private label, we always tell them, hey, let's talk about it, because product safety can be the biggest killer to a private label brand, and a really fast killer too. From a so from a private label perspective, and then also even from an arbitrage perspective, because sometimes sellers will find these killer deals, and we just we'll talk it through and make sure that it actually matches with what the seller is comfortable taking on risk wise, and making sure that they've got all their ducks in a row. Like, we're not going to write the insurance policy, that's Ashlyn's work, but we're happy to help talk about what you need to talk to her about to make sure you've got.
Outstanding. Yeah. It just opens up. I like this topic today because it opens up the possibilities of the unknowns. I would say the vast majority of what we deal with probably is IP complaints, but
right.
There's other things going on and huge benefits to putting you guys on retainer, paying a very small amount monthly, and then you handle these things and help people navigate these questions and make sure they avoid the traps that are out there. So jeffschick.com, spelled just like the razor, SCHICK, jeffschick.com. Get over there, put these guys on retainer. If you're serious at all about your business, you'll be shocked how low the price is. And you can rest better at night knowing that you've got some pros. Evan's on policy, legal. Just really appreciate you guys. You've been serving our community so well for a long time. And this was a great topic, I think, today. Any other notes before we let you go for the day?
I think, we covered a lot. I appreciate you guys having us on. And I guess, the big things for sellers, just think beyond obviously keep graphs are important, but think beyond IP, think about all the other risk factors when listing products, because, especially if if you're deciding between two products, like you might be looking at a blender on the one side of the TJ Maxx aisle, and looking at a pair of Nike socks on the other side, one of those is going to be significantly more risky to sell than the other. So, if they both have the same profit margin, it may make sense to go with the less risky item.
Exactly. Although, I have heard of people getting injured because they wore two left-footed socks instead of the left and the right. People sue for weird things. No, I'm just kidding. It's an old runner joke.
Okay.
Get the socks on the right feet. But it's people can sue for anything. So being covered. And this has actually turned into a little bit of a plug for our mutual good friend, Ashlyn Haddon at ecom.insure as well. Another great sponsor of our show. Appreciate you, Jeff. And I'll have you back next week if you're around. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
Okay.